Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning back in. This is a Screencast-O-Matic audio-visual recording for the reading from Upfront Scholastic for your lesson in sociology from Unit 3, Lesson 3. In this particular part of the lesson, we're going to be looking at the role of technology that it plays in our lives, as it is in many ways advancing and in some ways deterring culture. Before I begin, let me preface this by stating that a lot of sociologists look at the way that cultures change over time. And I think one of the key factors for American culture specifically is looking at the way that technology has changed it. But is it changing it for better and or for worse? I'll let you be the judge. In this reading, you're going to be looking at two different takes from people who have experience working in technology and, of course, looking at social trends. And in this way, we're going to come to our own justifications over how technology is changing culture. So before I begin, please let me encourage you to fill in the chart for the reasons provided for the yes side and the no side for establishing your stance in the argument of are we too wired. Please be sure to give your opinion at the very end of this and then complete the rest of the lesson accordingly. Let's go and get started. Are we too wired? We live in a digital world and rarely disconnect from it. Facebook has 1.8 billion users and Instagram has about 600 million monthly users. Snapchat's 158 million daily users post some 2.8 billion snaps every day. Most of us walk around with smartphones, and that we use to post our statuses and get constant updates and photos from our friends. But is there a downside to being so wired? Two experts, one a public policy researcher and the other the head of a digital communications company, weigh in. Yes. About a year and a half ago, I attended a meeting in Geneva, Switzerland that gathered 450 changemakers to tackle some of the world's most pressing challenges. I thought the participants would emerge with new relationships and perspectives on complex issues such as poverty and climate change. Instead, participants spent the meeting glued to their phones, taking selfies and sharing on Facebook. This experience is typical of a shift in values taking place in our society. Increasingly, we're spending time engaged in activities less for their own intrinsic value, and more for how we will look to others if we're seen on social media doing them. I think something important is lost in the process of sharing so much of ourselves online. Social media likes and new followers provide us with public approval, but this need for constant sharing of ourselves and the immediate gratification that comes with it diminishes the meaning and significance of the things we share. Some parts of our lives are worth keeping private. Many of the relationships we form online are largely superficial, and the constant online sharing has psychological consequences. A handful of studies, including one recently conducted by the University of Michigan, suggest that increased Facebook usage contributes to anxiety and even depression. We are constantly seeing what others are doing and paying attention to their lives as they unfold in real time. But that deepens our anxiety and uncertainty about whether we are leading lives that fulfill our own potential. So lost in the online sharing and advice gathering is the fundamental ability to reflect on the questions by ourselves, taking as much time as we need to come to our own decisions. In short, because of our growing dependence on constant digital connectedness, we have become afraid of spending time alone. So that was from Emerson Korsova, a fellow Canada's Public Policy Forum. And that's an interesting take on this, isn't it? Before we go on to the next slide of the argument here, I would recommend looking at this graph. And once again, on your own copy, you can come back and look at this too. But I think it's pretty clear to see that, the fact with cell phones rising in number substantially, this has a huge impact on our culture too. But here's the other side, providing some food for thought. No, humans are social creatures, so we naturally seek out opportunities to connect with others. The internet is particularly effective in helping us do just that. The positive influence on the internet in terms of human connection is evident in many areas. Music, sports, culture spread easily across the globe, providing powerful links across international borders. Twitter allows me to share my opinion on the issues I care about, much as I would at the dining room table. The key difference is that I'm now able to tap into a global community, not just a local one. So the internet also enables people to easily engage with causes they care about and make an impact on the world. Consider the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Thanks to 2.2 million Twitter mentions and the 2.4 million Facebook videos, it swept across the nation in the summer of 2015. And in the challenge, people dumped a bucket of ice water over themselves to raise awareness about the debilitating disease, ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. The Ice Bucket Challenge raised more than $115 million that ended up leading to a major scientific breakthrough. When I first began researching social media in 2004, it was assumed that people who chose to interact online did so because real-world social opportunities were closed off to them. But studying teenagers who use chat rooms, I discovered a generation of digital natives who were as socially adjusted as their peers. In fact, many studies have shown that people who connect with others online are less likely to be socially isolated than their peers who don't. One kind of digital interaction, online dating, is now the second most common way to meet someone, and couples who have met online have marriages that are just as strong as those who met in real life. There are aspects of social media that cause more harm than good, but overall, the deeper connections that take place online make it easier to ever engage with the world and change it for the better. So that's from Noah Gaffney Slaney, founder and chief executive of Impact Squared. Once again, please at the bottom of the chart fill in your own analysis of whether or not you think we are too wired. And think about the way that your culture has maybe changed in just the short time that you've had experience using cell phones and technology as well. Thank you very much for tuning in, and good luck in completing the rest of the lesson.